So we're going to use two stabilizing factors. One's going to be through the glutes and one's going to be through the hands pressing down into the ground to help with some pressure into the calves. So Phoebe, I just want you to show everyone how you arch your back and that position in your hips where you're creating that tiny little arch away from the ground. And then you're going to tuck your pelvis like dog. Yeah, exactly. So we're thinking like if you were to try to put your hand underneath your low back, how would you have to move your body and your spine away from the ground? And then what you're thinking about doing is if your hand was there and you were trying to press your back down into the ground and you squeeze your glutes, you kind of feel how that activates your glutes and your low core. So we're going to be using that glute tuck. Let's show it one more time. So going into that arched back position where there's some space, and then slowly tucking through the glutes, through that low core. I always say, like dog who did something bad, tuck your tail. It's just a nice little cue, and that's going to help create some pressure through the calves. The second piece of that is the hands by the sides. So let's get your hands by your hips. I want you to shrug your shoulders up towards your ears and then shrug them all the way down like you're reaching those fingertips towards your toes. Then through that shrug down, I want you to press your hands down into the ground. Do you feel how when you press your hands down into the ground, you feel some core stability happening in your upper core? We're going to combine that lat press, the hand pressed, with the glute tuck, and that's going to help create the pressure in through your calves. So let's take that big block up by your head, and let's put it in your right calf. Right in the center we'll start. Yeah, perfect. Okay, the other leg's gonna cross over at the ankles. Yep, really nice. Now, if you don't need that much pressure, you don't have to cross the other leg over. It can totally hang out next to the other leg, but I like a little bit of extra pressure here. You normally need it, and the calves are a pretty dense muscle. First thing, connect to that belly breath. You can put your hand on your belly. You don't have to if you have a hard time keeping those belly breaths going. Sometimes it's nice to just kind of feel your body breathe here so that you know the belly breath is happening. Your goal is to get into your most relaxed state here. So in through the nose, out through the nose. Want your breath to feel relaxed and not forced, but still trying to get as inflated through your belly as you can, and then as deflated as you can with the exhale. Now, sometimes the body wants to move right away, but I want you to focus on just compressing into one area for that first minute before any movement happens. This is another great time where you can do that body scan. So from the tip of the head all the way down to the tip of the toes, just kind of connecting mind to muscle and figuring out what's kind of still holding on here. Now, once about a minute has gone by, you're going to put your hands to the sides and press down into the ground. We are trying to create some movement in the calf here, and we're going to do that by pressing the hands down into the ground and then tucking that tail underneath. I want you to think about your hip bones here. Right now they're facing up towards the sky. I want you to swivel your hip bones left and right very nice and slowly. So press your hands down into the ground. Think about using your glutes. And as you swivel the hips side to side, you are going to get pressure into that inner and outer calf. Now, your body is really going to want to move through the tight spots quick here. So I want you to go nice and slow through, especially through those spots that are a little bit more sticky. Now, your breath is always going to be your kind of pain tolerance guide here. So if you can breathe through what you're doing, you're in a good space. If the tension is so intense that it takes away your breath, that's when we need to release tension a tiny bit. So we started with the block in the middle of the calf, but we can also work it up higher and up lower. I usually think about 3 spaces for each muscle, right? So we've got a higher spot, a middle spot, and a lower spot. Now, Phoebe, I want you to use that left heel on the block, like press it on the block, and press the block a tiny bit away from you so that you get up onto an angle just slightly.
With my heel still here?
Yeah, like this. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you feel how when we change the from surface area to the angle, you're gonna get a little bit more intense of a feeling. So when the block is straight up and down, you're gonna get a surface area, flat surface. As soon as you press the block a tiny bit away from you, you're gonna get more onto the edge. Yeah, so you can use your heel and press it even more. Is it tight there?
Yeah. My calves are my
Yeah,
dreams.
there you go. That's even more of an angle. So again, the more angled that you get, the more intense it's gonna feel because you've gone from that flat surface area to that corner piece, which is gonna be a little tighter. Now, I like how you changed where your foot was. That's another thing that you can do. You can cross at the ankles, you can cross right below the knee, or you can cross right above the knee. Every spot of the calf is gonna feel a little different. So just going wherever feels right. Now, the last piece of this before we move on to the next is pointing and flexing those right toes. So pointing and flexing the right toes is gonna help kind of nudge that calf muscle to a shortened and lengthened state, which should help kind of get the fascia to relax a little bit more.
Totally.
Now, I could spend a lot of time in the calves. This was just one spot on one leg, but I do want you to work at least 2 or 3 spots, a lower, a middle, and a higher on both legs. And again, we're working for 3 minutes in each position. The first minute, we're always going just breaths. And then as soon as that first minute or so passes, that's when you would use your hands pressing into the ground, the hips swiveling side to side to getting those inner and outer parts of the calf.
Would you recommend a sort of flow with the inhale and exhale with the flexion and extension of the foot?
Oh, you can, but you don't have to.